Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.
Hello friends, and welcome to Fairfield Today. I'm Paul Jasson. Thank you for joining us as we're well into the new year now. Hope everything is one of our first opportunities to talk to you since Christmas and New Year's. Hope everything went well for you and your family. We're back into it for January, and so far this year, keep our fingers crossed, everything is moving along in terms of, last year we had a lot of cancellations of programs and just things where everything was on Zoom, nothing was live. But so far this year, and we hope it stays that way, everything is up and running again. And as we tape today, it's a beautiful day in downtown Lancaster. So thank you for joining us. Second half of the show today, we'll have Miss Carrie Woody on. She'll be representing United Way, and we'll talk to her about that really fine organization. But we'll begin today by, by definition, an ombudsman is someone that does some intercessory work that intercedes for usually, I think, individuals and either a government agency or a big company, somebody that will help you navigate some problems you may have with that big company in terms of paperwork and understanding what's going on. The ombudsman will step in and give you a hand. Would that be a fair estimate of what an ombudsman does?
So the easiest word to describe what ombudsman is advocate. So yes. We are the advocate for those in long-term care in particular. This is Samantha
Cummins. Samantha is an ombudsman. She's a volunteer coordinator.
Correct, yes.
For, Easter Seals is sort of the parent company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our sponsoring agency.
And Samantha's job is an interesting job. She helps individuals navigate the problems of long-term care, and that could be a nursing home, that could be a long-term care facility, that could be about anything in terms of an older person needing assistance. And there's a lot of other things that fall under that umbrella of the coordinator here for ombudsman. But so Samantha, you work here in Central Ohio, which covers what?
So that covers Fairfield County, of course, but also Franklin County and all the counties that touch Franklin. So Delaware, Union, Madison, Fayette, and Lincoln, if I got them all right.
So you put some windshield time on it.
Just a little bit.
Mileage. You get a little mileage in on some days.
Yeah, definitely some days.
I hope today you don't have to be here and then be up in Delaware too.
No, just Fairfield today.
And I would mention that I first heard Samantha speak a few weeks ago at a Kiwanis club, and she spoke, and she'll do what she's doing here for us, describe what an ombudsman does. But I was surprised when we were just talking before we went on the air. You said that this job, not you,
right,
but this job has been around since the mid-'60s in terms of people out there helping people navigate through this world of long-term care.
Correct. Via the Older Americans Act of 1965, which required each state to have a long-term care ombudsman program.
And I was just thinking that with this many counties to go, do you do all this yourself, or do you have people that help you?
So we haven't gotten to the point where we have like an assistant volunteer coordinator. So it's just me, myself, and I for right now. The staff in our office and other volunteers kind of help out where they can in terms of the volunteer coordination aspect, like helping out with outreach events, like last May when we were here for the Community Days Festival.
Sure.
I had a few staff and volunteers come and kind of help with that outreach.
And that's something we were going to talk about, and we might as well bring it up now. You need some volunteer assistance.
Correct.
And you're looking for people, actively seeking people to do what you do and help out in communities like Lancaster or Fairfield County.
Correct, absolutely.
And how would they contact you if there is some interest from someone?
So they can definitely contact our program through our intake line. Then we will refer it back to myself, and we would have that conversation of what volunteering would look like, kind of the next steps after that.
What would that line be?
That is 614-345-9198.
You're good. That's good. I didn't set you up for that, but you're good. You figured that out. So now you work in all these counties, and I guess it would involve somebody like me, let's say, contacting you and say, I have a mother who's going to be, I think, needing some kind of long care help, and you would do what to help me?
So essentially, we would be really looking at to see what's going to be the best fit for your mom. So helping you come up with like questions maybe, and kind of talking through like, is a nursing home going to be best? Is assisted living going to be best? And if you're not sure, we would connect you to like local resources to help you determine that.
Okay.
And then once we're able to do that, we can also help let you know what facilities are available in your area.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to recommend or not recommend facilities, but our goal is essentially to provide you with enough information for you as the family member to help make that decision of where it's going to be best if your mom does need that care.
And so I guess if I came to you and said, I'm going to put mom in a facility, now we're looking at how many facilities in Lancaster and Fairfield County? Would you say 30 or 40?
So yeah, we do have about 30 facilities here in Fairfield County, which includes the nursing home, assisted living, as well as group homes in the community.
So then if I say, well, she's got some problems, let's just say she can't feed herself, she has to be fed. So you would help me in kind of weeding that down. Maybe some of those facilities don't do that or do that, but you would help as I come up with questions. You would just kind of weed the 30 or 40 number down to a smaller number.
Yeah, and then also provide you a link to a website called the Long-Term Care Consumer Guide, which kind of helps narrow that down of like what services you need. And it also has links to be able to look up the survey results of the facility for the Ohio Department of Health, which is the regulatory arm of nursing homes and assisted living. So really getting those details about, where the facility needs improvement on or where they thrive at.
Speaking with Samantha Cummins. Samantha is an ombudsman with, I guess the parent company would be Easter Seals, but she actually works in Central Ohio, which is Fairfield County and contiguous counties around us. And you help in the decision-making process, or at least giving people answers to questions about what would be the best facility in terms of does mom have Alzheimer's, does she need that kind of care? Does she just need a little bit of help during the day? Just help somebody working with her pills or something? You could help answer a lot of those questions.
Right, and that's only one aspect of what we do. We have what we call the core services, and that's only one of 9 that we do as ombudsman. What we're primarily known for is that kind of if somebody has a complaint or an issue with their stay.
You mean if mom's at a place and something's going haywire in my mind, I would call you up and then you would look that up.
Yeah, correct. Okay. So we would actually be reaching out to your mom, using it as an example, to see, because we are resident directed at the end of the day. So to see, what's going on, through her point of view, is she having, similar concerns? And then with her consent, we would then kind of investigate into the situation and then be that advocate to say, hey, we got this problem reported by the family members as well as the resident, what can be done to fix that.
And so would you, in some cases, or maybe all or none, talk to the facility and ask them, these are the questions or the problems that I've received, how are we going to work through this?
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, that's definitely the way to go. And our staff ombudsman here in Fairfield County, her name is Erin Brady, has done definitely a good job building up that rapport to be able to have those conversations with the consent of the resident and family members.
And just knowing a little bit about, fortunately I don't have anyone, and it's not my mom going in, it'd be much more likely probably that I would be going into a facility like that than a mother. But it seems to me that one of the common problems I see with, everyone right now, but for years I have always thought a common problem with long-term care, nursing homes is staffing. They all seem to be understaffed. Now, whether that's a pay issue, and certainly now there's lots of things going on. Any restaurant will tell you they got problems now. But in the world you work in, I always thought that staffing is always an issue. Do you see that?
Oh yeah, we definitely see that. And we definitely still try, to sympathize at points because it is a hard thing. But at the same time, we still try to hold the facilities accountable.
They have a standard they have to meet,
Correct.
whether they have 2 employees or 30
Exactly.
employees,
Yeah.
and then you try to see that is met. And then if I would come to you later as someone else and I'd say, would you tell me these businesses that have certain problems, or you get a lot of complaints about building A or building B?
So we are able to disclose that information about
You are able or unable?
able.
Okay.
About verified complaints we have received from a particular facility if somebody is looking for that information.
So again, you're looking for some assistance down here in
Correct.
Lancaster and Fairfield County as a volunteer to help you and attend and do some PR work and attend meetings. And like you say, I'm sure there's functions when the summer especially, I'm sure there's functions 7 days a week and probably multiple areas that you cover the same day. You can't be in all places.
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of what this person would do.
Yeah, that is something that if they're interested in doing, they can definitely do that. Kind of our biggest role with our volunteers is being able to establish that regular presence at a facility. So kind of being our eyes and ears.
Nice rapport.
Yeah, building up that rapport and really educating the residents and family members about the rights that they have. Altogether here in Ohio, residents in long-term care have 33 additional rights guaranteed. It's not negotiable. They are guaranteed rights when you are a long-term care consumer. And so therefore we provide that education, and we also provide that education of how us as a resource, if you are having any kind of an issue, to be able to help with that. And so that's kind of the biggest role our volunteers play, in addition to, depending on their interests, going to community events just to get the word out that, hey, we're here, we exist, as well as, just helping out with the volunteer outreach as well.
And if some organization or some group wanted you to speak or to talk about your program, you're available to do that. How would they contact you?
Correct. Same way, if anybody's interested in volunteering, just give us a call and then they'll connect you to me at the intake line. So once again, that number is 614-345-9198.
Samantha Cummins, thank you for coming down today. You have a lot going on there, a great job. I mean, that's so important what you do. Thanks for you and all the volunteers that do that.
Thank you so much.
We as individuals appreciate it very much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Ombudsman for long-term care facilities, Samantha Cummins. So we appreciate her coming down today. We'll be back with more on Fairfield Today in just a moment.
Life is unpredictable. That's why estate planning is important. Estate planning provides you comfort and peace of mind knowing that you're taking care of your loved ones and ensuring your legacy lives on just as you envisioned. You lived a life that is beautifully and uniquely yours. You deserve an estate planning attorney who understands that and creates a plan as unique as you and in the best interest of your loved ones. You deserve the local, trusted, experienced attorneys at Dagger Law.
Fairfield Federal. When it comes to our customers and our community, we go above and beyond to help. Our people make the difference.
We were retiring from Tucson, Arizona, and we made a retirement trip out around Ohio, having decided that's where we wanted to be. And we came across this town called Lancaster, and we fell in love with the downtown area where the fountain is and the memorials and the flags and all this stuff. And we looked around and I said, there's our bank right there.
There's something to be said about a community bank in your hometown.
Right. If you live in the community, you should do business in the community as much as possible. So it makes sense to bank with the community bank where you live.
Fairfield Federal is the bank to be at. If you live in this town, or any town actually, you want to bank at a local home bank. And the employees are happy here, they're conversant, customer service is through the roof. There's nothing more you could ask for.
Personal or business banking, whatever you need, we take it seriously because we know you do. Stop by today at any of our 3 locations and see why the difference is clear. Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan specializes in banking that revolves around you.
Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our 2 locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Fairfield Medical goes the extra mile to give attention to their patients, to their guests, anybody that comes within those doors.
There's no question that the staff there are all personally invested in seeing that I got the best care possible.
The staff was so comforting. I felt like she was in the best hands.
They basically gave me a second chance at life, and I'm going to make the most of it.
Welcome back to Fairfield Today. I want to thank Samantha Cummins for talking about an interesting job about ombudsman and what she can do to help many of us who have perhaps an aging parent or a sibling or somebody that needs some assistance and information on how that can be acquired. So I would certainly suggest getting a hold of her at the number she gave you. We'll change gears a little bit and talk about one of the really fine agencies in town that do so much for Lancaster and Fairfield County, and that's United Way. It's a pleasure to have for the first time as executive director of the United Way, the Miss Carrie Woody. Carrie, welcome.
Thank you, Paul.
You look so different as head of United Way than you did in your previous job. I kid because I care.
I'm not sure how to take this.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you here. You're relatively new, 3 months or less, or
I am 3 months actually today. Actually just 3 months.
And you're still there.
Yes, I'm still there. I haven't gone screaming out the door yet.
Guess I lost the office pool on that one. You know, I didn't know about that. But at any rate. Interesting change for you. United Way, everyone knows what a great job they do overseeing so many of the agencies in town that do the good work of Lancaster and Fairfield County. So I would say at times you've found this to be, even with only 3 months under your belt, pretty rewarding to watch what the member agencies for United Way do.
And so, Paul, you may not know this, but I actually started with United Way.
I did not know that.
Way back in my previous life when I had less gray hair and less wrinkles.
Not this one here?
Yes, it was actually here. I worked under Sherry Orlando. She was the CEO at the time, and I was the campaign.
Did such a great job. Big shoes there.
Yes, really big shoes. But so I was the campaign person for United Way prior to going to public transit.
Okay.
So I really love what United Way does. I love the work that they do. So when this position came open, it was a really good
soft
fit.
Spot for you there to get back into that.
It was a good fit, and I feel like I'm going home.
So right across the street here, just if the wall wasn't here, I could look and see your big United Way board with, I believe, 1.1 million or some dollar amount.
We're a little over 1.2 million right now.
1.2.
Our goal this year was 1.333 million.
It is so close. Well, you got like a week to go.
We have about a week to go. I'm not sure that we'll hit goal, but we've definitely raised more this year than we did last year.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about that.
You weren't there last year, so probably you're thankful for that. I would guess, as most people who are in their job, last year was a difficult job. It was a difficult job in your previous life there too, with public transportation. But now, as we move now into 2022, can we expect any big changes, or just more of the same?
Well, I will say the biggest change for us is, again, as you alluded to, last year was horrible, given a horrible pandemic. So our donations were severely down, which meant we had to cut all of our agency funding.
And you did that. Was that straight across the board, a percentage?
Yes, we cut all of our agency funding by 40%.
Wow.
So we fund 24 agencies, over 30 programs, and they all were cut 40%, which makes it hard for those agencies to carry on in a pandemic when people need the services more than ever. Yeah. From the food pantries to domestic violence shelters, child care. I mean, just so many services that saw an increase in service, but a decrease in funding.
So at the same time, both the worst world was coming to an agency.
Yes.
That had to be hard.
It was very hard.
And hard on you to make those calls.
Well, luckily I wasn't there to make those calls. That was my board and my predecessor.
And hard on everybody there to do that.
And yes, very hard. So I'm walking in at the end of that. Our campaign this year is up compared to last year. So even though we're not where we should be or where we need to be, it's still up, and we won't have to cut the agency funding this year.
So it's pre-COVID numbers?
Yes, we're
Okay.
getting back to pre-COVID numbers. So we won't be able to give our agencies additional funding, but we'll at least be able to get them back to prior to that 40% cut.
And to the best of my knowledge, you had a pretty good program chairman this year that I think understood what the needs for United Way was. The previously mentioned Sherry Orlando.
Yes.
What a pleasure for you to be with her on this and just work with her through all this.
I am so very fortunate because Sherry does. She knows the industry. She knows the agencies. She started, over 30 years ago as an agency director herself. And so she knows what the agencies need. She knows what the community needs. So it's been amazing to work alongside her as our campaign chair this year.
So the campaign, the dollar amount will run through, well, almost right now, maybe in another week, the middle of January, somewhere like that. And then what will be your mode after that? Will you just start on another campaign at that point?
So we've already started our other mode, and that is how we fund our agencies. So all of our agencies and programs that we fund in Fairfield County go through an annual review process.
Yes.
So, and that's the reason that we, the people like to give to United Way is they know that we are vetting our agencies in every program every year to make sure they're all being held accountable and spending their funds wisely.
And that's something that not that many years wasn't done, but even when Sherry was there, I think it started, but
Yes.
sort of holding these agencies, and nobody's questioning they do great work, we all understand that, but it was more feet to the fire, let United Way know why you need this money and what it goes for.
Yes. And again, we want to be able to answer to our donors, and we want our
Sure.
agencies to do the same.
Sure.
So we've already started that process. Our agencies have to submit all of their applications for funding by the end of this month. And then we have around 40 community members that go through and review all of those applications. They do agency site visits. They meet with each agency one-on-one. And then we will have those award notifications in May for the agencies. So that kind of concludes the whole process. And then starting June, we start with the next campaign process.
And if you're an agency, are you given a packet of information? Everybody get the same packet?
Everyone gets the same packet.
Everybody has to answer the same questions, and everybody's kind of on the same level ground there that says this is what we need and this is why we need it.
Correct. But we don't stop there. We make certain that we review and we make certain that what they say they want and what they say they need are actuals.
Now, how's your staff? How large? I know Andrea Spires pretty
Yes.
well, and she works with your agency down there. How large is your staff that you work with?
So I have 3 full-time staff members and then 2 part-time staff members. So we have our Director of Finance, and that's Sky Geddes. You may know Sky. He retired from Fairfield Medical Center, so we now have his
Huge
expertise.
guy. How wonderful is that?
He is amazing, very smart. When it comes to finances, he knows it. And then I have Beth Kraft as our campaign event manager, and then Andrea Spires does all of our community impact. So she oversees all of the applications and grant process. And then she also oversees some of our programs like our Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, where children can get free books.
Well, that's turned into a huge deal.
It is a huge deal. We have over 3,000 children enrolled receiving a free book right now in Fairfield County. And then she oversees our Feeding Our Future program, which allows food to go home with elementary students once a month in all of the county schools and the city schools. And then she also oversees our free tax program, which is kicking off at the 1st of February.
That'll be going on again. That's really grown also.
It has really grown. So for the viewers who may not know, we offer free tax preparation for anyone in Fairfield County. It goes by certain income guidelines, but just call our office and we can go through that. You'd be surprised at how many people can qualify for free tax preparation. And then if we have viewers who are maybe looking at college, we also do free FAFSA preparation for high school students. So give us a call. We'd love to be able to help.
Is there anything you don't do down there?
Well, we don't do public transit.
We've got somebody for that.
But we know who to call.
Right, we know that number. So the process is then, if I'm an agency, I'm given a packet of information. I fill it out, turn it into you, your board, your people review that, and how many? 24 agencies?
24, yes.
24 agencies, turn those in, and that puts you at some dollar amount, and then that becomes your goal?
Correct.
Okay. So it'll be a while before you come up with a goal then, because when did you say they have to have these packets back in?
The applications are due at the end of January,
Okay.
and then we do the whole review process from February through May.
Okay.
And then we'll make those
So
awards.
then after May, then that will be into more of a knowledgeable position in terms of what kind of money is needed. How have the agencies, probably some have done better than others this last year with those dramatic cuts and with the increases of people coming in? I suspect, in knowing Lancaster and Fairfield County, they're very fortunate that individuals step up, and donations, I'm sure, are up in many of those agencies.
Unfortunately, not as much as you would think.
Really?
Most of our agencies had to make tough decisions on how to restructure their agencies to work within the finances that
Sure.
they had. I know that there were agencies that had to lay staff off, that had to let staff go. So every agency was different, but just a different model, different look, different feel. But now they're trying to get back to a more normal type of operation.
And I think I'm going to guess Lutheran Social Services is one of your agencies.
Correct.
We're going to be talking to that young lady next week. But I would guess that almost every agency would say this past year has been an increase of whatever service they provide. It's been more needed in the past year. Would that be fair?
I would say, and for the most part, yes. Now, there
Yeah.
are some exceptions. Needed, yes. Now, whether or not people use the services, and again, in Lutheran Social Services, I know that for homeless services, they didn't see as many people wanting to come into a shelter during 2020 because they were afraid of contracting
Sure.
a virus,
Sure.
of being in a room full
But a
of other
food
people.
pantry area
Food
probably
pantries,
was through the roof.
Yes, and definitely calls for mental health skyrocketed because people
Yeah.
being isolated alone, especially in our seniors and our school children. We do a program called Signs of Suicide where we're screening middle schoolers and high schoolers on signs of depression and suicide.
Increase.
And I think we're just starting to see the beginning of that. So that's one of our biggest concerns is, as a funder and with United Way, is what are we going to do to address those needs?
Well, and we'll keep our fingers crossed here now as we're into 2022. I just saw a letter that Scott Burry, who is principal out at Lancaster High School, sent out. Things are 100% go as of now, so we'll
As of
keep our
now.
fingers crossed. And I think most in Lancaster and Fairfield County are private schools the same, so maybe as we're hopefully getting on the other end of this, are you Zoom meeting out? Have you done
Zoom
enough of
meeting
those?
now. I am done with Zoom.
Back,
and I
you're back probably
understand-
meeting now.
I'm pretty much meeting in person. I do
Okay.
wear my mask in most meetings,
Sure.
to protect myself and others. But yeah, I'm over Zoom. It's very impersonal. It's hard to get good conversation because people will multitask, as I'm sure you're aware, and just hard to have meaningful conversation when you're one person at
And
a
I'm
time
sure
on
your
Zoom.
kids, your own personal kids, are glad to be back meeting with other friends, and,
Yes.
and they probably find that
My
wonderful
children
again.
did not like remote learning.
Everybody
at
does it. They're
all.
more social skills, more animals
Yes.
like that. They're into that.
Yeah, and it's funny because my third child, I didn't think he was social until all of this,
Until he wasn't.
until he realized how different it was. And now he realizes, yes, he's social. He wants to be around other students and be around other people his age and away from his parents.
Well, we'll keep an eye on the board across the street. We have just a week or so here, and I'm sure there'll be announcements out there about what the magic total is. We're sure it'll go up from where it is right now, so we're going to come
Paul,
very close to 1.3.
I agree, and I didn't want you to miss your opportunity
Yes.
by helping United Way. So I did
Isn't this
remember
girl
to
so
bring
sweet?
your pledge card so that you too can help bump that number
No
up on our
pressure here.
sign.
I think, Shane, can we edit this out? Okay, very good. Well, thank you for that. I believe very highly in the agencies you represent. I'm on some boards of some of those agencies, and for the job that you do, I used to have Sherry on a bunch here and just talk to her about these kind of things. So you do great work there. I'm sure you enjoy it immensely, I would
love
guess.
it. Very rewarding.
Carrie Woody, who is the Executive Director of United Way, just doing a terrific job. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. We'll have you back, and as we kick off, I guess, 2022's new season.
Well, thank you, and thanks for having me.
Sure. Carrie Woody, Executive Director of United Way. And thank you for joining us on Fairfield Today.
Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.